People have been making whoopee since, well, before there were people. Way back when, which is to say approximately 2 billion years ago, our single-celled ancestors developed sexual reproduction, possibly as a means of creating genetic variation. Over time, as these simple organisms evolved into multicellular creatures, their descendants developed all sorts of shortcuts for getting in the mood and determining who might make the most fertile mates. So, today, we're putting the bedroom under the microscope and examining the scientific reasoning behind our strange sex practices. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel and let us know in the comments below what other strange human behaviors you would like to hear about next. All right, time to light these mood candles. For science, of course. Philematologists are people who study kissing. Aren't you bummed you didn't take more science classes? According to the findings of these brave smooch crusaders, couples, on average, exchange 9 milliliters of water, 0.7 milligrams of protein, 0.18 milligrams of organic compounds, 0.71 milligrams of fats, and 0.45 milligrams of sodium chloride every time they snog. Does that mean kissing is technically a meal? What's more, anywhere from 10 million to 1 billion bacteria may pass between mouths during a kiss, and a sampling that can include nearly 300 different species of both pathogenic and non-pathogenic organisms alike. In other words, every passionate kiss is sneaking a bunch of its weird friends into the party. So why is it exactly that people develop this taste for each other's lips? Well, kissing can be traced back evolutionarily to our recent apish ancestors. Within the animal kingdom, only humans and their closest great ape relatives, chimpanzees and bonobos, engage in the occasional smooch. And yet so few makeout scenes in Planet of the Apes movies. Some scientists believe kissing developed as a means of testing out the genetic viability of potential partners. Since saliva is chock full of hormones and genetic information, these scientists argue that kissing allows for an exchange of info that can be subconsciously processed by the two smoochers. A first kiss can make or break a budding relationship, as the information exchanged may set off incompatibility alarms within a participant's brain. Once a relationship progresses and a couple gets the stamp of approval from their subconscious minds, studies show that an increased frequency of kissing is indicative of a strong, healthy relationship. Some studies have even indicated that men who kiss their partners every morning live up to 5 years longer than men who do not. But perhaps surprisingly, there seems to be no correlation between a relationship's strength and a couple's frequency of engaging in intercourse. Even with all of these alleged benefits, though, today only about half of all cultures across the globe engage in romantic kissing. Europe, Asia, North America, and the Middle East all love themselves a good makeout sesh, while many African, South American, and Central American cultures do not partake in the slobbery snogfests of their fellow hominids. Certain foods, spices, and chemicals are said to help increase libido. Historically, some of the wilder alleged aphrodisiacs have been completely bunk, while others do seem to be scientifically supported. For instance, in traditional Chinese medicine, it is believed that consuming the organ of a tiger will increase male virility. This belief has played a major factor in the widespread poaching of the species and has, at least in part, led to the endangerment of the entire tiger population. Indian rhinoceroses, considered vulnerable rather than endangered, have unfortunately faced a similar fate to tigers, thanks in large part to the use of their horns as a cure for erectile dysfunction within Chinese folk medicine. Despite the fact that there is no evidence that tiger parts and rhino horns can get the male organ working again, an underground market for both persists to this day. Other historic aphrodisiacs include the consumption or smoking of toxins from a bufo toad, along with the consumption of ginseng and ambergris, which is whale vomit. Kinky. Meanwhile, alcohol has proved itself time and again to increase sexual activity through disinhibition. While too much alcohol can prevent people from experiencing sexual pleasure, it seems the right amount can increase sexual desire. Many of you are now realizing you are actually conducting scientific experiments in your 20s. Furthermore, women who drink 1 or 2 glasses of red wine per day have reported both increased sexual desire and improved sexual function. Oh girl, it's sex o'clock somewhere. Many also believe that strawberries, raw oysters, coffee, chocolate, and honey all have aphrodisiac qualities. Among these, coffee and oysters seem to show the most potential, while there is no evidence that either chocolate or honey has any real effect as aphrodisiacs. In the case of coffee, most of its aphrodisiac qualities come from its caffeine. Caffeine gets the blood pumping and your mood up, causing both increased dopamine production and improved sexual performance, and makes you jittery and have to poop. So it's a real mixed bag. As for oysters, they're loaded with zinc. While zinc may not get the blood flowing in the same way as caffeine, it does play an important role in the production of sperm and testosterone, making it a key mineral for male sexual health. Beauty and sexual attraction are different, and the cliché female sexually alluring assets tend to focus on two areas of a woman's anatomy, and you probably know which ones we're talking about. But there actually may be some science at work here too. As far as butts are concerned, some believe a well-shaped tush signifies sexual maturity. A slim waist and broad hips demonstrate to potential mates that a woman is not only old enough to bear children, but that she is not yet pregnant, and that her skeletal structure may allow for an easy time in childbirth. Hear that, ladies? You're sexy to the bone. What's more, a correlation may exist between your caboose and the intelligence of your offspring. The glutofemoral fat that women store on their backsides contain long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids that help with fetal brain development. And some babies born to women with larger butts have scored higher on cognitive tests. So shake what your mama gave you may refer to SAT scores. Breasts can also be an indicator of fertility. Most believe that their size and shape can indicate that a woman is of childbearing age and in good health. Some have also theorized that since babies get a rush of oxytocin while breastfeeding, this feel-good association with breasts may simply linger into adulthood. We won't discuss what women find attractive or sexy, but we will touch on one old hackneyed topic. While the perfect Johnson size relies on the specifics of each woman's anatomy, like a lock and key, in general, the size of a dude's crank can positively influence the number of orgasms a woman experiences. Those codpieces might be coming back in fashion. During sex, people can make all sorts of noises, and studies indicate that those who communicate during intercourse, whether verbally or non-verbally, report greater levels of satisfaction. This can increase partner bonding, reducing the risk of infidelity, and increasing the likelihood that the man will stick around if the woman gets pregnant. This could be attributed to the evolutionary development of female vocalizations. Many female primates engage in some form of sexual vocalization, before, during, and after intercourse, and human females can be similar. Female vocalizations differ from male vocalizations in rhythm. While the noises men make in the bedroom are generally uneven, women's usually come in notes of equal length, with equal intervals of time between them. There's music everywhere. While women's bedroom vocalizations generally seem to correlate with contractions of their paravaginal muscles, research has shown that some women manipulate their vocal cadences to set the pace, like a high school track coach. After sex, it's time to smoke a cigarette. At least, that's what old Hollywood would have you believe. But the original link between sex and cigarettes can be traced back much further than the movies. Heading into the 1920s, smoking cigarettes was seen as a taboo for women. Taking notice of this untapped market, famed advertiser Edward Bernays, working on behalf of the American Tobacco Company, leveraged the feminist movement of the day to sell tobacco to women. During New York City's 1929 Easter Parade, for instance, he hired a bunch of women to march along the parade path, smoking cigarettes, like a mobster on a treadmill. He instructed these proud smokers to declare that they were not simply smoking cigarettes, but puffing upon torches of freedom. I guess all those Truth.com PSAs were anti-American. Within the decade, the act of smoking became culturally tethered to sexual liberation, and old Hollywood, barred by government-imposed restrictions on depicting sexual content of any kind, found the euphemism they needed in cigarettes, which effectively became a stand-in for sex. Then, in 1970, President Richard Nixon signed into law a ban on advertising cigarettes on television and radio, prompting many cigarette companies to pivot even harder into the movie market. Thus, in the 1970s and 80s, cigarettes proliferated in movies, which is why everyone in Ghostbusters smokes like a chimney. Maybe Luke Skywalker would have rolled his own smokes if he hadn't been in a galaxy so far, far away. And as movies incorporated increasingly risque scenes into their plotlines, cigarettes worked their way into the bedroom itself. Soon after, just about every movie sex scene was accompanied by a smoke, and many viewers copied the practice. Scientists argue that there does not seem to be a physiological component to this connection. While smoking cigarettes can relax the body, it seems that smoking after sex is more so caused by addictive impulses and learned behavior than anything biological. However, the same cannot be said for sleeping. The act of sex is an activity that often takes place at night, which contributes to tiredness. Brain scans have shown that anxiety centers must go quiet in order to orgasm. This in turn produces a calming effect, leading both sexes to relax afterward. Still, sex tends to make men particularly sleepy. This is because men experience an increase in sleep-inducing chemicals. These include vasopressin, oxytocin, and perhaps most importantly, prolactin, a chemical that when injected into animals can put even the most ferocious tiger right to sleep. Probably a rhino, too. So what do you think? Which of these bedroom facts surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from our weird history.